Hi, everyone. Welcome to A Girl in Love with Tech podcast. My name is Rachel Rabo. I'm a Microsoft Learn Student Ambassador, a Power Platform developer, and a Dynamics 365 CRM developer. This podcast is streamed live on Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And you can get the recording of this podcast on Spotify, Anchor Podcasts, Google, my YouTube account, and also on LinkedIn and Twitter and Instagram too. So subscribe and follow everywhere. So our special guest for today is Mark Christie, and we are going to be talking about inclusion and also getting more women, females into events, especially the Scottish Summit. Hi, Mark.
Hello, how are we doing?
I'm good. Thank you.
Good.
Okay.
It was a good. I love the intro with subscribe, like, tick all the boxes, get everything seen as much as you can. That's the way
Yeah.
forward.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. So if you can introduce yourself so that we can know more about you.
Yeah. So I'm Mark Christie. I'm a Microsoft MVP,
Okay.
MCT.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for about 17 years now.
Wow.
I've
That's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, CRM version 3.0 is the first CRM that I done. Before
Okay.
that, it was actually Great Plains. So, like the finance accounting system that nobody uses anymore. So, yeah, I've
Yeah.
been doing this about 17 years now. Also been doing public speaking and events now for maybe about 7 or 8 years of that as well. So, it's been quite an
Okay.
interesting ride.
Yeah. That's really nice. That's amazing. Like you have been in the Microsoft Business Application community for so long. I think the next question I have to ask you relating to either Power Platform or Dynamics 365. How did you get to know about it?
By accident.
Okay.
So I actually started working for a company. So I've always had like a computer background.
Yeah.
My dad bought me. I wanted a computer, so my dad was like, "Yeah, great, okay, we're going to buy all the individual parts and build a computer." So
Yeah.
I got into computing that way, and then went to work for somebody who it was basically hardware. It was do the
Okay.
networks connect? Are the cables run? Can you set up the new computer? That was all done,
Yeah.
and they had a customer who was using Great Plains and
Okay.
also CRM.
Yeah.
And what happened was one weekend we came in on the Monday, and over the weekend, the computer or the server that was running CRM and
Okay.
Great Plains had died.
Yeah.
So part of what I was doing was restore the backup, get the backup working for them, but they
Okay.
just couldn't get CRM working.
Yeah.
So I ended up having to restore the database,
Okay.
reinstall CRM, and reinstall updates on SQL. And
That's
then
nice.
ever since then, I've been involved in business applications. So it was an accident. It was a happy accident, though. I do
Yeah.
enjoy it.
That's amazing. That's really, really amazing. I think I've heard a lot of stories of so many people in the community of how they got started in Power Platform or Dynamics. It's really, really amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it's something that people set out to do. Like you don't come out of university and say, right, I'm going to be a Microsoft Power Platform consultant or developer.
Yeah.
You just don't do it. It's something that either you're brought into
Yeah.
because you know somebody there or a recruiter has found you, or you've looked at something and you've got in
True.
there by chance.
Yeah, it's true. That's very true. That's very true. I think another question I have to ask you that this podcast is actually on, which is inclusion and getting more females into the Scottish Summit. So, for our listeners, maybe they don't know what is Scottish Summit. So, what is Scottish Summit? Yeah,
It's different. So Scottish Summit, it's a community event that's free for anybody to attend.
yeah,
That's what it is on the whole. But we we run every year or every 2 years, depending on how we feel.
yeah,
And it's more about networking. It's about meeting people. It's about getting more people into the community.
yeah.
So although it's an event with learning, we do so much around it. So we raise money for charity. We get new speakers in and speaking, but predominantly it's just a community event around Dynamics, Power Platform, Azure, and Office.
Yeah,
Anything that's Microsoft and anything that's in the cloud, really. It's an excuse for everyone to get together, if they've not seen each other for a while, have some fun and enjoy learning.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's really amazing. I actually plan to attend this year, but I could not. So I'm definitely attending next year. Yeah.
Excellent. We'll get you up to Aberdeen, don't worry.
Yeah. Okay. I think the next question I have to ask you, where was the first event, the first Scottish Summit, and how was it? I know
Yeah,
it
so the
since
first
yeah, so how was it, the story?
so the first one was run in Glasgow, and it
Okay.
was done. It was actually February 2019.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember back now. Yeah, February, because it was actually so in Scotland we have what's called Burns Night, and it celebrates the poet Rabbie Burns.
Yeah.
So the night before the event was actually Burns Night. So
Okay.
that's what reminds me when it was. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was the first one. We were basically told in Scotland there wasn't a community for anyone in Dynamics or Power Platform.
Okay.
So yeah, there's no community. You might want to book a room that's got 20 people that can come and learn.
Yeah.
Do a couple of sessions, do it for a couple of hours, and do 20 people. And at
Okay.
that point, I myself and Ian had worked in Microsoft Dynamics for a while. We knew a lot of people in Scotland, and we were
Yeah.
like, "Nah, we can get more than 20." And the
Okay.
first event, we actually ended up with over 300 attendees.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, for a first event, it was
Amazing.
like it was mind blowing, genuinely mind blowing for us.
Wow.
We kind of targeted for somebody said we couldn't get 20 people. We thought, right,
Yeah.
let's just get 100. And then when
Okay.
we hit 100, we're like, oh no, what do we do now? And we had to. So we actually, I think we gave away about 400 tickets, and I think it was about 320 people actually appeared. So I mean that for somebody saying that Scotland didn't have a community, I thought
That was
that
amazing.
was
Like
amazing.
that is such a big gap. It's talking about 20 and then getting 328. That's a
Yeah,
lot.
it was, and one of the things I'm actually most proud about with the first Scottish Summit is we deliberately had more female speakers than male speakers.
Yeah.
So we in total had, I think it was 31 speakers, 15 male, 16 female.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think that's the next question I have to ask you. What do you think about the gap between male speakers and female speakers submitting sections?
So I've kind of got two hats on this. So when at Scottish Summit, when we review the sessions,
Yeah.
we take away the name, so we don't know the name of the person. We
Okay.
remove the gender, so we don't know the gender of the person, and
Yeah.
we only review it based on the content of the session.
Okay.
So when we're doing our reviews, we don't know whether it's a male or a female
Yeah.
that is actually submitting the session. So that is actually really good because
Yeah.
people are given sessions based on the quality of the session that they've put in.
Okay.
But the problem I have is still there's, I would say, about 80% to 20% more males submit sessions than females.
Wow. The gap is a lot. Yeah.
It is a big gap, and we've tried to do as much as we can just to get people involved, to get people around with it. We've went to female tech conferences
Yeah.
and we've talked there. We have reached out to local user groups, our female-led user groups.
That's
We have
amazing.
also gone into other people's workplaces and said, look, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Can we work with some of the people to get them to submit?
Okay, I think one of the things too that I don't know. I think for me, I think for me, one of the reasons it might just be imposter syndrome. One,
Yeah.
another thing is actually understanding how to the format to submit the section. Like
Yeah.
how detailed do you have to be to explain a summary of what that section is about, to give the right name for the section, stuff like that. Yeah.
So a lot of people are now doing blind scoring. So they, as I say, they don't know the gender, they don't know the names.
Yeah.
We even go a step further where if they're using any pronouns,
Yeah.
like he or she will talk about, we actually remove that and just put they will talk about it. So
Yeah.
there is absolutely no way of telling who it is,
Yeah.
which is I find that is really good, but it's finding. So we've done work. We have what are called new speaker workshops,
Yeah. Okay.
where if people are interested in speaking, we'll work with them on how to submit a session, how
Okay.
to structure the submission, how
Yeah.
to figure out a catchy title,
Yeah.
and
That's
then
really
how
nice.
to present.
Is that going on right now so that more people who are listening they can actually apply to it?
So we've just had our event 2 weeks ago. So that
Okay.
will then start up again in about 2 months. We're
Okay.
also going to have an in-person event doing it as well.
Yeah.
So we're working with the Scottish local user group, and we're
Okay.
going to have a day where people can come and learn how to submit sessions and how to. We can't teach people how to talk, but we can teach people
Yeah.
how to be comfortable, how to
Yeah.
position their body, how to present themselves. We can do that, and then we're going to have a user group in the evening.
Okay.
So
That's really amazing. Like the steps you are taking to actually increase more female speakers and also encourage people in the community is really amazing. Yeah.
yeah, it has to be done.
Yeah, and I think another question I have to ask you is that anybody listening right now that is interested in speaking, or maybe they have imposter syndrome, or they are feeling that okay they have two minds towards submitting a section. What do you tell them right now?
Go for it. The worst that happens is you get a no. The
Yeah,
whole world isn't going to end. You'll get a no and you'll get some feedback.
yeah,
But what I would actually suggest doing is, if you are wanting to speak, is trying to find a mentor. So try and
okay,
find somebody that already speaks
yeah,
and work with them to say, look, this is what I want to talk about.
okay,
I either can't articulate that into a structure that could go into a session, or I just don't know how to do it.
yeah,
And just work with that person and let them help you, because everyone gets better by being helped by others. It's like lifting
yeah,
other people up and giving back.
yeah,
The other
true,
thing that I would also suggest is, if you do have somebody that would mentor you, if you
okay,
are apprehensive about talking and about putting sessions in, there's no harm in doing a joint session.
okay,
So do a joint session with somebody who's already in the
true.
community.
Yeah,
And
that's a good thing to do.
for me, so I feel that the community is at the stage where there's a lot of senior people in the community who have done it for a long time,
Yeah,
and they get to talk at every event.
yeah,
What I feel should be happening now is the people who have managed to speak at 5 or 6 years worth of events, they
okay.
should be the people that are doing the joint session with the new people. So if
Yeah,
somebody says, right,
that
okay,
would be.
Mark,
I said that would be really good.
yeah, so okay, Mark, I'm really interested in, I don't really want to do a session, but I want to help somebody do a session. So
Okay.
I would then look at, say, right, okay, here's my list of all the new speakers. I
Yeah.
think you two would really gel. Let's have a little call. We'll facilitate the call. See if you get on, and if you get on, do a joint session where there's a little bit of talking from everyone. Some people will do some slides, some will do the other, and it just builds up that confidence.
Yeah, it's true. There's nothing like when, especially for someone that has stage frights, there's nothing like when you have another person speaking. You
Yeah,
like you have someone standing in the stage with you, and you are inter switching. Like that person speaks, you speak. So you get to gather yourself before it comes to you.
you
Yeah.
get to breathe. I mean, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
If somebody's talking, you get to breathe. You get to just, right, okay, compose myself. I mean,
Yeah.
because I'll be really honest. I still get nervous every time I'm in front of people talking.
Okay.
And whether that is 5 people or
Yeah.
whether that's a room of 2,000, I
Yeah.
still get nervous every time. I probably get more nervous for smaller crowds
Okay.
because they're so close, you can see them, and you can
Yeah.
almost you're breathing the same air as them right there. So
Yeah.
for me, those are actually more nerve wracking. Put me in front of 2,000 people, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's fine. But yeah, it's still. I mean, I genuinely don't think the nerves or even the imposter syndrome do go away. I mean, I know a lot about the subject. So I talk a lot
Yeah.
around field service because that's one of the technical topics I talk a lot about. And I
Okay.
know there's not many people that can articulate field service the way that I can, or
Okay.
know field service as in depth as I can.
Yeah.
I still get nervous every time because what if somebody in that crowd asks me a question about something I don't know about?
Yeah.
And like there was something just released last week. Do you know about this? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I will
And it's
find out and I'll get back to you.
yeah, it's actually still fine if you don't know because yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know, but I'm going to find out and get back to you.
I, I need to get more into the habit of doing that. What I've started to do is say, I've not got an answer for that.
Yeah.
Drop me a question either if the event has an app in the event app or find me on social media, ask me the question on social media and
Okay.
I'll get an answer for you.
Okay. Sure. That's nice. That's really nice. I think that's one thing that people are scared of. They think that okay, when I come on stage to speak and somebody just raises their hands up like this person has questions for me. What am I going to say? The person has not asked the question yet, but just that person raising up their hand, they are already thinking so much about it. So
Yeah, and there is another part to that. Was when we do the sessions have different levels. So
yeah,
level 100 introduction, level 400 is like advanced or developer.
yeah,
If you're delivering a level 100 session and somebody asks you a level 400 question,
yeah,
it's just a case of like, that's not what we're covering. This is a more introductory one. Drop me a message offline and I'll get an answer for you. And that's all it needs to be. I know I make it sound so simple, and it's difficult when somebody answers because you don't want to feel like you don't know the answer or you don't want to feel like you're being upstaged at all.
yeah.
But this isn't what the content is for Dave. Drop me a message and we'll have a chat about it.
Yeah, that's also nice. I think, like what you said, it's when choosing a topic, it's nice to choose a topic that you are comfortable with.
Yeah.
Like you can, when you start speaking like this, you start rapping.
I genuinely, so if anyone's ever seen me, they always give me a microphone without any cables
Yeah,
because I will walk around the room. I probably walk about 5 kilometers while doing a 1 hour session. I'm back, I'm forward, I'm jumping up on the stage, I'm jumping down, I'm asking people questions with a microphone.
yeah,
It's more of a workout than a workout.
yeah. It's nice, and I think I have some things to say to the listeners. If you are listening to this podcast, this is an amazing opportunity and encouragement for you to start submitting sections. You don't have to be scared that okay, I don't want to submit section. Like what Mark has said, the only thing you can get is no, and the word is not going to stop. Yeah,
Just don't let it stop you. Just take on the feedback. Some events will give you feedback, some won't. If the
yeah,
event doesn't give you feedback, ask for it. Because the only way you're going to start getting things approved or accepted is if you ask for that feedback.
yeah,
And there's times where even me, I've submitted to events that have been events that I'm like, yeah, I know everyone there, I can do it. And I've not been accepted for it because maybe it just wasn't the right content for the event. So it's not always about what you're submitting. Is it a good session or not? Is that session a good fit for the event?
yeah. I
So
get.
there's lots of different things. So the feedback might actually not be that, oh, we just didn't think your session was good. The
Yeah,
session might have been, yes, it was a really good session. However, we already have 5 in that topic, or it's not really what we're covering at this event. And that's the sort of feedback that can actually build confidence as well.
yeah. Asking for feedback is nice because you get to actually learn from it that okay, this is what I did, and okay, I understand what I did, and next time I know how to correct that mistake. Yeah,
Yeah. And do you want to know a little trick as well for finding out how to also write better sessions?
yeah.
Is get involved in reviewing sessions.
Okay.
Because if you start to see what everyone is submitting,
Yeah.
how they write their sessions and how they structure their sessions, this
Okay.
also makes you think when you're writing your sessions as well. I wouldn't say it's something to do from day one, but after you've done 2 or 3 sessions,
Yeah.
start to try and get involved that way because you will learn. I mean, last Scottish Summit, we had about 900 sessions that were submitted. So
Wow.
people
That's a
were learning.
lot.
Oh, do you know what? How long that took for everyone to review them is mad. But as you're going through them, you're also learning what you like as a writing style for a topic.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That's true. I think another thing to do too is that I think there's something I learned recently to do. If you go to Sessionize and search, like you can search for a particular person that maybe you like the way the person speaks. You see
Yeah,
the person every time on events. You can search for the person's name, then add Sessionize at the end of it. The person profile is going to show, and the sections that the person has submitted will show too. So you can actually read through them and say, okay, this is nice. I can learn from
yeah.
this too. Yeah,
That's actually a really good idea. I will be writing that one down after this. I like that. That's good.
yeah, it's nice. Yeah. Okay. So I think another question I have to ask you is that there's this perspective that it's in the world that ladies feel that most things they don't have to, like most things is not for them,
Yeah,
and it's actually for everybody. They have that. What will I call it? I'll call it imposter syndrome because
yeah.
I don't know what to call it right now.
Yeah, I mean, it really is imposter syndrome. Everyone kind of thinks, "Oh, am I that good? Should I submit? Would I be accepted?"
Yeah,
It's a difficult thing to get over because,
yeah,
as I say, I've been doing this 17 years, and I still think there's somebody that knows more than me. There's somebody that's going to challenge me. But depending on the topic, how well you know the topic, what
okay,
level that topic is going to be. One thing
yes,
I've always said is if you do a session and one person in your session learns something, it was
yeah.
worthwhile doing that session.
Yeah, true. I think I've heard this word too from someone, and that was David Abu, where he
Yep.
said that holding boot camps, like teaching power platform and stuff, there are so many people who are going to apply and they are going to come for that boot camp.
Yep.
But it's not everybody that's going to continue learning on what was taught on that day. But if there's just one person that actually listened and actually continues, then he's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly how I go. If one person learns one thing, that is worth the travel. That's worth the hotel beds that are horrible. That's worth the
Yeah.
hotel breakfasts that don't taste nice. It's worth it if one person learns something. That's how I feel. So
Yeah.
if you're worried about doing a session and you feel that imposter syndrome, try to. I know it's difficult to do. Just
Yeah.
click the submit button. Just do it because there will be somebody who's just starting their journey.
Yeah.
And if you can inspire somebody, because they might not learn something, they might
Okay.
just be inspired by you. So if you can inspire somebody, or if you can teach somebody something,
Yeah.
then that genuinely makes it worthwhile. And it
Yeah.
also gives you that confidence that you can do it as well.
Yeah, it's really amazing. And I think there's that feeling you have when you're actually teaching people and you see they are learning from it. It's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I love working with, I say consultants, but working with sort of apprentices.
Okay.
So working with the apprentices because as they're in the company 2 or 3 years, so you work with apprentices the first 6 months, as
Yeah.
they onboard, as they start to do things, as they're learning their craft,
Okay.
they'll go away to then work on different projects.
Yeah.
You might find in a year's time, 2 years' time, you work with them on a different project,
Okay.
and just seeing what they're able to do
Yeah.
in that gap of time is actually more rewarding than delivering a good project.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. I see a lot of people online. Yeah. It's really amazing. It's really
And
amazing.
like if you've done talks or if you've done blog content, podcasts, and somebody says, "Oh, I learned that bit from this podcast or this blog," and it's like brilliant. That again, 100% worth it.
Yeah, the joy that comes from it is like you're so happy.
Yeah, it is, and it's weird because
Yeah.
I mean we don't do it for enjoyment. We don't do it. We do it for other people to learn. But
Yeah, sure.
it's. Have you ever heard the phrase? There's never a selfless act.
No, I don't think I've heard it
So there's never a self. Anything that you do,
Yeah.
you get something back from it somehow.
Okay.
So there was an episode, and I hate the program, but there was an episode of Friends where they
Okay.
basically spend the whole episode. Oh, I could donate money to charity. Okay,
Yeah.
if you donate money to charity, you're going to feel good. Damn
Yeah.
it. Okay, right. I'm going to give this man a bike. Oh, but you're going to feel good for that. Or I'm
Yeah.
going to do this. And it's difficult because I write a blog so that I can put content out there so that people will learn.
Yeah.
And when people learn, I get happy. So there's never, you're always putting stuff out there and you're always getting that little kickback from it somehow.
Yeah, I think there's also one thing I love too about posting content and also speaking too is that you get to see how far you have come. Like you are speaking about a particular topic and you get to see that you're actually passing knowledge, especially when people get to ask you question, like you answer that question and you're like, wow, so I I really understand this question.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I actually so I do a lot of training. So I'm a Microsoft certified trainer. So I do a lot of training. And
yeah,
there's a topic I've passed the exam for. I was a bit apprehensive about actually doing a course. It was the customer data platform. And
okay,
obviously, I know how it works. I was able to pass the exam, but there were just bits of it where I thought, I'm really going to have to read up on this first.
yeah.
So I've done a little bit of reading, went through the training guides, and then people were asking me questions on it. And it was like, boom, answer question, answer question, answer question, done. And I'm like, oh, so I actually do know this
Yeah,
more than I thought I did. So
yeah.
you surprise yourself sometimes.
Yeah, it's amazing. Sharing of content is amazing. Speaking about something you know, you get to share what you know. Especially what you said, you get to help people. You get to help people, even people you don't know. They are people all over everywhere. They are seeing your content, they are seeing you speaking, and so many things. So you're definitely affecting the life of someone. So it's nice.
So I've got one blog that is probably my most read blog ever,
Yeah.
and it is around field service and how to on the schedule board in Dynamics or like customer service or field service is a schedule board, and it's
Okay.
how to edit the look and feel of that schedule board.
Okay.
Now I wrote that about 3 or 4 years ago,
Yeah.
and every time I do a field service project, I actually have to look at that blog. So I think I actually look at my own blog more than everyone else
Yeah.
does, just
Yeah.
for that one article.
Yeah, it's nice. I think me too. Most times, maybe I'm trying to build a particular thing and I get stuck. And after being able to solve that particular problem, I get to write a blog post on it. And maybe another time or another day, I'm trying to also build that same, maybe a different solution, but it has that same process.
Yeah.
I get to go and check that blog. Okay, this is what I did. This is what I did. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it
nice.
comes back to your own. Myself and Ian, one of my business partners, and also Ian runs Scottish Summit as well.
Yeah.
We've got some training to do for a customer next week, and it's a custom training course around omnichannel.
Yeah.
And to set up a trial of omnichannel, there are
Okay.
so many different things that you need to do. And I said to Ian, we need to blog about this because there's no blogs there, there's nothing there. And he's like, but we don't have time because we've got to do this. And that's one of the things as
Yeah.
well is sometimes it's difficult to blog because you're
Yeah.
solving a problem, but you're then moving on to the next problem. And that sometimes
True.
can be difficult. So try to give yourself that little bit of time. Also, do you know what a cheat I use? Open
Okay.
up Word and use
Yeah.
the dictaphone and just talk to it, just speak to it and say, this is what I've done, this is the different points, 5 points, a little
Yeah.
bit around each point, so that you've at least got an outline of a blog so that you
Okay.
don't forget it. And I
Yeah.
just do that using the dictaphone or the
Yeah.
dictate function in Word.
Yeah. Oh, I think there's also one thing too. You can actually just write the topic on a task, like to do. Just add it
Yep.
to your task. Yeah. Then after you
Yeah.
complete it, you can just hit on it.
But are you like me though? Do you write here's a task for this blog and then forget every bit of content that was going to be in it?
Yeah, it happens most times.
So
Yeah.
that's why I kind of just put some bullet points so I can remember. And even
Yeah.
sometimes when I read the bullet points, I'm like, I was doing it at like 1 o'clock in the morning. What was I actually talking about? So
Yeah. Yeah. It's nice. I think our listeners who are listening right now, I think we have a comment. Let me just check that. Okay. And John Russell is asking us how are we doing. I'm good.
no,
Yeah,
you're
I'm
doing
good.
well.
Yeah. Okay. So if you're listening right now, this is a big opportunity for you. Like this should be an encouragement for you, a motivation for you to submit a topic. Submit a topic. And I think one of the best places to look for too is to actually go to Sessionize and follow events you think you want to speak on, follow the pages. Follow Scotty Summit. Scotty Summit on LinkedIn and he's also on Twitter. Yeah. So
And threads, we're on threads as well. We're keeping up. I think we'll be doing more on Threads going forward than Twitter, because I think Twitter's not going to be there in a year. It's going to implode on itself.
Yeah, sure, it's fine. Yeah. Most persons are on trend, so yeah.
Yeah. And what I'll do as well is I'll share some information after this as well, just around, there's a few groups that we deal with around new speakers as well. There's one that Zoe Wilson, who's one of the organisers at Scottish Summit, runs. So I'll do a little post about that and tag you in and let you share that. So that gives some more information as well.
Yeah, so that's amazing. So if you're listening, be ready. Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah. So do you have any advice to give to our listeners?
I've got lots of advice for everyone. Genuinely, the world isn't going to end if you have a bad session. So this isn't advice. This is just real world what happens. There was a new user group starting up in Bristol about 3 years ago, maybe even 4 years ago. And I was asked to just go down and talk. So it was the first one. They had some quite high profile speakers and me. So I was asked to go down. I had an amazing session that I had done 2 or 3 times before. And it was when Power Virtual Agent had just come out. So it was using Power Virtual Agent, using field service, using case management, using the portal. So it was all interconnected. It was actually the day this Microsoft store opened in London. So I went in there, took some pictures, like, here, I've just bought this set of speakers. This now doesn't work, and I want to support, so I need to raise a case, I need to go to PVA, I need to ask questions. So it was a whole intricate, everything was online, everything was live. I got to the venue, my internet wouldn't work.
That is terrible.
My internet just would not work.
Yeah.
And that just sometimes happens. You could be a great speaker, you could have great content, and just things happen. So I genuinely, I mean, the world's not going to end. I ended up doing stand-up comedy for about 30 minutes.
I think one thing too is, like, I think one thing I've understand now is that when you're facing challenges, maybe you're trying to speak like the example you just gave, or you're presenting in a meeting, and you have challenges, is the way you handle that challenges that's going to make everything not flop. You might even be giving jokes and nobody will know that, your internet is not connected. They'll think that, maybe this is part of the presentation.
So genuinely, I find that I'm quite a loud and funny. I think I'm funny. I could do comedian. I could be a comedian, right? So I think I can do that, but it's not until you're put under that little bit of pressure. And Malin said earlier on today, when we were doing some training, always have backup slides. Just take some pictures of what you're going, because you never know what's going to happen. So always have those backup slides. So if you're doing a live demo, just take a screenshot of 7 or 8 things that are kind of pivotal or key points, just so you've got them in the background, because at least that way you can bring them up on the screen and you can talk about them.
Yeah, true. That's nice. Yeah, that's a really, really good advice. Because most times when you're trying to demo a solution, everything will just go off. One thing that was working before, like 2 minutes ago or 3 minutes ago, when you try playing it, everything will just stop working. Yeah.
So that's like, I think the world's not going to end.
Yeah.
You'll get up. It's like falling off a bike, right? You're going to get up. You're going to dust yourself off. You're going to get back on the bike, and by the time you've ridden that bike 4 or 5 times, you're going to be really good at it.
Yeah, definitely.
It's exactly the same thing.
Yeah, very good advice. Because something you do often, it's going to get to a point that's going to be like a part of you. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it goes one way. Let's be honest. It goes one way or the other. You either you ride the bike and you like riding the bike, and you keep riding it, or you ride it 2 or 3 times and you decide it's not really for me. I mean, there's no harm in trying it 2 or 3 times, and if you don't like it, stop it. There's no harm in it. You don't have to keep doing it just because you've done it once or twice.
Yeah.
People change, and different people have different things going on at home or at work.
Yeah.
There's no harm in submitting a session, pulling a session out, changing a subject, anything like that. There's no harm, as long as you effectively communicate that with. So as long as you're talking to the events and you're speaking to the people running it and explaining your situation, everyone's sympathetic because everyone else has been in that same place.
Yeah.
Don't if you know you're not going to be at an event because something's happening,
Yeah.
just tell somebody. Don't wait until a week before and say, "Oh, by the way, I'm not going to be there." Just be open and honest and say, "Look, this has come up, or I'm having to do this for work, or I'm not feeling it. I've got lots of stuff going on. This is
Yeah.
just a little bit of added pressure." There's nothing wrong with that at all. Everyone
True.
will be sympathetic to it. There's no harm in it whatsoever.
Yeah, true. That's true. Thank you so much. Yeah, that's really
No worries.
amazing. So, hi everyone. Yeah, I think I've gotten to the end of today's podcast. Yeah. Okay. I think we don't have any other thing. I don't have any other question. So, thank you very much, everyone. And don't forget to subscribe and follow everywhere. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.